this is Cheri at djsundry.blogspot.com, and today I have a Valentine's card for you. Now, I am not making a lot of Valentines this year. There just has not been time, but I do want to make a special card for my husband. I also made one for my son. We're doing something different for my daughter, so I won't be mailing it, but I definitely wanted to get those two cards. So I pulled out some old tried and true things that I have in my stash and went to work. Now this set of paper, I don't know if it's even available anymore or not, but if you can get your hands on this set of paper, I love this set of paper. This is a 6x6 paper pad from Fancy Pants Designs, I believe, yes. And I have had it for years. It's called Love Notes, and I just love the colors, the patterns, everything about it. It's a beautiful set of paper. I keep it in a Ziploc bag. Whoops, that's my stamps. I keep it in a Ziploc bag, and I have a few full sheets left, but there's a lot of scraps in here. But I just use it. I've used it for years because I just absolutely love it. So I'm using that. And then I have a stamp set from Close to My Heart. This is from a Cricut collection. It's called Love Right Now. And the stamp that I'm using is this Flourish. Now you'll notice that it says love, and then it's got this border around it. Well, that's because this is actually a stamp set that's designed to be used with one of their Cricut cartridges, and this one happens to be with the Artistry cartridge. Again, this is an old cartridge. I don't even know if it's still available new. You would have to find it used somewhere. But what I did is it gives the measurements. It says on page 6 is where you want to go, and you're going to cut this little image at 2 1/4 inches. So I have done that on black cardstock. So I'm going to set my pieces aside, and we'll get to those in a minute. But the next thing I have here is white embossing powder. And so on the side I have my little embossing buddy so that I can do some embossing. So let's pull the Versamark pad out, and that is the very first thing that we're going to do, is we're going to do our stamping and embossing. So we'll get to the card in a minute, but I have this piece that I actually did in black. We're going to set that there, and then I am going to get my stamp really nice and juicy wet. Now, I don't believe that I've used this stamp before, so there goes my embossing tool. So I want to make sure that it's really, really wet. Then I want to go over my piece with my Static Clean Free to kind of clean up the static and make sure that I don't want embossing powder all over my image. So I've got it lined up there. I'm going to line it up from top to bottom, center that, and just stamp it down. Now I see that I got it a little bit off center, but I think we'll be okay. So now what I'm going to do is, because I'm using the white, and I am getting low on white, but I'm just going to put it over the top, just like so. And I'm going to go over it and really fill it, make sure that I've got it all. Tap off the excess and make sure that I'm getting as much as the image as I can. Now I see that I have a little bit of embossing powder on the side. I want to get that off, but the rest of it will be just fine. We're going to set that aside, and then now we are going to get the heat tool and we're going to emboss it. So I should have grabbed some tweezers before I ever started, because that's such a small piece that it is definitely heating up my hand. I'm not even sure where my tweezers are, so we will just go at it some more. just kind of cheat here with some scissors because that is definitely too hot for my hands. So don't do what I do, and be sure you have your tweezers handy when you're doing this. There we go. Ah, thank you. My husband was standing over there. He had tweezers handy. Perfect. Okay, so that is ready to be adhered to the card. Those are nice tweezers. You won't notice I have them. I'll just keep them. So there is our emboss piece, and that will go on our card in just a minute. So I have the card pre-prepped, and again, I have already done the inside. So I took a piece of that paper, and actually I took two pieces of the paper. One is this polka dot piece, and then this is this little printed piece, and I just put that on the inside to kind of finish off the inside. And then I took a larger piece of the polka dot paper, and I actually made it the exact same size as the card base, so no white will be showing through at all. So that is 5 1/4 or 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and we're just going to adhere that to our card base. And then the second piece I made a 1/4 of an inch smaller all the way around, so we have about 1/8 of an inch. So it is right at 4 inches by 5 1/4, and that's where that paisley is in the middle. So now all I'm going to do to finish that off is I'm just going to pop this right in the middle. I'm going to grab some foam tape because I want a little bit of extra dimension on it. If you were going to send this through the mail, sometimes you have to watch because it might be a little bit too bulky to send without adding postage. And so just be aware that that is a possibility. I'm not too worried about that with this card because it's not being mailed, first of all. But second of all, it's this foam tape is thin enough that it would be okay, and I don't have any other dimension on the card, so I probably wouldn't add postage to this because I think it would go through just fine. Now I'm being pretty generous with the foam tape. This foam tape's a little bit wider than I typically use, but typically I would put a little bit narrower piece on either edge and then leave the middle empty, but definitely it won't fall down in the middle. It won't get crushed because that foam tape's covering it. So just really a simple card ready to go just like that. Now if you've seen other videos recently, I've talked about one way to kind of finish it off besides finishing off the inside of the card is to finish off your envelope. So in this case I finished off the envelope on the opposite side, so it kind of mirrors what I'm doing on the inside of the card, and then I have a finished envelope that just adds that extra punch. Now you would have to be careful with this. If you were mailing it, you would probably want to put a label or something over the top so that your return address could be there, or you could always flip it over and put it on the flap on the back. So there we have another card all ready to go. And thanks for stopping by today. And remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye.